Hey, what's your name?
Arthur Ganson.
And what do you make, Arthur?
I make machines.
And what kind of machines?
Well, I make machines that are about feelings and gestures.
And how long have you been making your machines?
Ever since probably my third year of college. And so what was that? I graduated in 78, so about 1977.
A lot of years.
Yeah.
A lot of years.
Yeah.
And how do you sell your work?
How do I sell my work? Well, it happens in a number of ways. Right now, I have a kind of a presence on the web, so people find out about me through just seeing stuff on the web, and they contact me directly. People see work at the MIT Museum, and they contact me. I don't really advertise. I don't put energy out into actually advertising the work. So people find their way to me. I've done a number of commissions for science museums, and quite a few private commissions. So it happens in just a variety of ways.
Right.
Actually, rarely through commercial galleries. I've had very few sales through commercial galleries.
Interesting. And the commissions you make, are they pieces that somebody saw and they want that exact one, or do you work with your clients to make specific things for them?
Sometimes people will want something that they've seen before, and I'll make a variation on it. Sometimes it's generally pretty open though, and they'll want a piece, and I'll create it, and it'll be whatever I create. So yeah, and actually most of the sales have been a piece that already exists, and they just buy that, and that's what I prefer to do. I don't really like to do commissions where I'm making something totally from scratch and then this is your piece, because I think it's a really personal thing.
Right. So you prefer to make your own work, and then
I prefer just to make the work.
Yeah.
And then if somebody likes it, if they see the piece and they like it, that's it. They know what they're getting.
Right. And in your talk last night, you talked about wanting to create a gesture with an object.
Yes.
Do you find that that is specific to a mechanism, and then the mechanism then goes out to make the piece, or where's the push-pull between the final piece and the gesture, and the middle space in between?
Well, the gesture is the foundation, right? So if the piece begins with, say, a found object associated with a gesture, and the gesture is very connected with what it feels like. It's all different aspects of the same thing.
Right.
So that becomes the foundation, and then everything about putting the work together is reaching for that, expressing that feeling,
Yeah.
expressing that, or using the gesture to express the feeling. Very often it'll evolve. There are lots of pieces that start in one direction, and then they speak back to me and tell me that, well, I'm not quite speaking, I'm not saying that, I'm saying this.
Can you talk a little more about capitalizing on mistakes, or do you
Well,
believe,
yes,
do you
it's
believe there's any such a thing as mistakes?
No. I mean, nothing's a mistake. Everything is a kind of a learning moment. So if I'm open to it, usually I can take whatever I have and evolve it into something that can work. Sometimes it will take so much work and quite a bit of building to get to the point where I can even see the piece work. And there have been some pieces where I just need to let it go and maybe use the parts, but that's okay.
Yeah. And your work is very stripped of ornament. Is that intentional, or do you sometimes like to fussy it up?
It's intentional, just because I like to have, I just naturally build what needs to be there. There were a few pieces I made when I first started where I was putting decorative aspects to them, and then it just become completely irrelevant. And now I feel like if I can if I can build a piece with its essential components, then there's a kind of beauty in that.
Right.
Yeah.
And scale, does scale matter to you?
Scale is very important.
Where would you like your scale to go? Bigger?
Well, scale is very connected with that particular idea. So the scale is appropriate for expressing whatever that piece is.
Right.
So
Smaller can be more intimate.
yes, yeah, absolutely. The piece that I showed last night, Margot's cat, where there's a little toy cat.
Yeah.
You know, the cat's about
Right,
this big.
right.
Okay. And the chair is this big. That works on that scale. I made a large version of that for the window of the MIT Museum once, and I used a stuffed cat that was about life size with a much larger chair, and I got so many comments about people were so upset about violence toward the cat.
Right,
It was just
right.
like unbelievable.
Suddenly
It's like,
became a
no,
real
it's
cat in their
toy.
mind. Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
in that case, the scale just happened to put it into a place where it was sufficiently toy-like, where it worked.
Yeah.
But with every piece, I think if something is smaller than us, like my body is like kind of like neutral, and then what's smaller than me or what's larger than me, and depending upon what is to be spoken. Most of the work I've done has been small scale,
Yep.
and because I've tended to want to make very intimate, very subtle, very quiet pieces. I've always worked in that way. But then, like as I said last night, I want to begin to also explore making much larger pieces. And how can I make a really large piece that has an intimate, delicate feel? So that's
Right,
one of the
right.
things I want to.
It's hard to feel intimate when it's part of a landscape, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And what would your dream project be?
Well, there are quite a few projects that I think would fit that realm. I'm about to begin to work on a very complex piece, the further evolution of Corey's yellow chair. That's, in one sense, that's kind of a dream project because it involves a lot of new technology. It's very exacting. It's really clockwork. The dream aspect of it is that I'm just so looking forward to seeing the fluidity of the parts moving. So I can see it in my mind,
Yeah.
and I just want to actually see it in physicality.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a dream. Another dream project, as I say, is working in a really large scale, where I'm up in a cherry picker welding steel, and then coming down and being able to look up at it.
Yeah.
There are just so many. There's so many different dreams actually that are all wanting to happen.
Well, good luck to you. And
Thank
it's
you.
been excellent meeting you.
Thank you. It's been so great to meet you too. Thank you for
Cheers.
all that you've shared, and you're an inspiration to me.
Oh, thank you. And you me. Thanks. Bye-bye.